Are we good? Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your patience. I appreciate that. Welcome. My name is Brian Billich. I'm with Continuing Ed at ACC, and I lead Global Learning. Here at CE, I'm really grateful to have all of you present and participating in today's presentations from students from Hernigsholm, Erhvervsskole, and Gymnasier. And we've got Danish students here, and Danish students here, and Danish students out there. We've got about 35 Danish students from 2 different divisions of business and technology. And we've got some panelists as well I'd like to introduce, if I may, from Project 202, Project with a K, which is very Scandinavian too. Okay. So we have Carrie Ann Olsen Landis. We've got Ryan Tillett, Leah Selby, and from Project 202, which will be here to provide their industry expertise. We've got Sam Fullymore, Fully Love, more love, from Meals on Wheels. And we've got Cindy Smith from Austin Baptist Chapel, Angel House Soup Kitchen, who are the nonprofits that the students have been working with to build their apps. That is an Amber Alert, just in case you aren't familiar with those. I'd like to thank Sarah Shippey as well for helping the students prepare their communication skills for today's event, as well as Scott Goyette, who will be here shortly. He's been coaching the students, teaching them about enterprise and what that's all about. Alicia, Andrew, and Leif Seifert, who have been helping the students learn the platform that they're using today to present their app. And so with that, I'd like to introduce the Angel House Soup Kitchen Group, and these students are from the business division of their school.
Bring it on. Okay, so Linda Lingle, who is former governor of Hawaii, once said, "We have come dangerously close to accepting the homeless situation as a problem that we just can't solve." And we surely discovered that as we helped the Angel Soup House Kitchen serving homeless people, among others. And in this presentation, we will walk through various questions about social entrepreneurship and then present our SWOT analysis on Angel's House. I'm Christian, and
I'm Les.
I'm Emil.
I'm Sophie.
I'm Sophie.
I'm Jane.
I'm Matthias.
I'm Daniel.
What is Angel House? Sophie will tell you.
Our group about this is Angel House, and Angel House Soup Kitchen is a social organization whose mission is to feed the hungry. And they're open every day for both breakfast and lunch, except for Christmas and Thanksgiving. And everyone is welcome there, and they are feeding about 250 to 400 people a day. Christian will answer why the US embrace social entrepreneurship and how Denmark is managing social issues.
Well, the reason why the US embrace social entrepreneurship is to help people who don't have the same opportunities as most of us. And the fact that social entrepreneurship exists is because the state is very small here in the US, which is also the reason why the government don't fund anything. And many Americans also likes the idea that you can donate to whatever you want, which is kind of the liberalistic way of seeing things. And this means that private organizations have to do the job, and therefore the private organization have to bring these social problems into the limelight. So in Denmark, the situation is whole opposite. We have a big state that takes care of the social problems, and that is also why non-profit organization isn't a thing in Denmark. And yeah, Sophie will then tell you the answer on how do we uncover social problems and create solutions.
Yeah,
We mostly hear about social problems on media, like on the news or social media like Facebook. But we do also hear them from like friends and family, or we discover them ourselves in our neighborhood somehow. But when we know that this problem exists and we need to create a solution, the first step is getting people attached to the problem. We want to make them want to do something, not just being aware of it, but want to do something themselves to create the solution. And it's important that we find the problem that's actually causing the problem, because in that way we can create the best solution. And the solution may look different because people are different. We have different belief systems and we think different. For example, if you talk about homeless people, some believe that we need to let them hit rock bottom before we help them, where others believe that we need to help them before they hit rock bottom. And therefore the solution looks different. But either way, we need to solve the real problem instead of having these band-aid solutions that are just temporary. We need to find a permanent solution. And like Albert Einstein said, that we can't solve problems by using the same kind of solutions we used when we created them. We need to think in new ways all the time. And then Sophie will talk about can social entrepreneurship actually add to or create new problems?
As I said before, Erhvervsskole social organization serving it makes it more attractive to be a homeless in Boston, which is called homeless people from other states too. Then that it allows you to house more guests. Maybe we need to expand an expansion. You require them to get more funding from private donors. Mental health solution is kind of a managed solution who's keeping people just above rock bottom. It's not and it's solving the problem. That's where we think the system in Denmark is more long-term solutions. Now in Europe, as a non-profit is unable to drive revenue outside of patients. How can we manage these issues?
Yeah, of course, when a company needs money to drive and they run around. So non-profits can't run around when they don't get donations and they don't get money. Then, people, if we have recession times in the US, people will rank themselves above others because you prioritize to feed your children before donating to, for example, Angel House. So the non-profits has to raise money in other ways. We have a couple of ideas how to do that. Religious funding, but that means that religious people will donate before non-religious people. Like they believe a little more in God, and they think that you have to give a little to have this belief. And maybe attend to local events like we're talking about Austin Amplify, where maybe Angel House could go to wherever it is and feed the hungry there and give them food where the money is and where the people is. And then maybe we could say, if Sophie was attending Austin Amplify, say, if you give $1, this man will have his meals paid, and then get more funding that way. And then you could have donors sign up for automatic donations. Like instead of just paying a one-time amount of money, you'll pay $10 a month. And maybe in recession times, you're thinking, all right, I gave $10 to some homeless people so they could get food, and then they'll just, maybe in recession times, they wouldn't pay the one-time donation. If you're paying the automatic, they would just think, okay, that's okay. That's okay. And then Daniel will take us through the next question, which is what are the positives of social entrepreneurship and what are the negatives? Is it better to have government manage these social issues or not?
First, we're going to just talk about in general about social entrepreneurship with the positive and negatives. One of the positives is the competition where they kind of push each other to be better, to compete, to be get more. It's ethical, meaning that because they help others, so people will be more likely to donate and see it as going to a good cause, not just going to someone making money. Solving problems, definitely. And that might be get the government to do it, but here it's the people who do it in companies, thereby relieving stress off the government, which they can focus on other things. They can be seen as a positive for some reason. And you can donate to what you want. If you see literacy being a bigger problem in the state of the area, you can donate to that. Seeing being, there's other things different from person to person. Negatives, again, the competition. Don't cooperate, so don't share knowledge and ways of being efficient. They're less likely to, of course, still could. And they depend on donations. So again, if there's a recession and people see themselves in front because they would like not to be poor and to have food and everything, still be the same way of living, same place. So less likely to donate, thereby it could crumble a bit. These factors are one of the reasons why we see it as the government should be control this, but that's again just our opinion. People have different ones and see different ways. And then that's a little bit more about Angel House, Soup Kitchen, since we have about it. First of all, they give food there. They give food to people and they give showers or the ability of a shower so they can go into it, go work, they clean. They don't get it dirty, which is good, which is what people look for. It's free for the people, so there's stress on, there's cost for them, they can use it for other things, housing, education, kids of themselves. Everyone's welcome. It's good again. You don't need to be dirt poor, you can be having bad, say you got fired, so you kind of don't have an income and need to save money, so you go here instead. Those things are what people will look at when donating, seeing they're good, and they donate again with the giving flows away, seeing as reason. Okay, these guys are doing it for a good cause, not just doing it for themselves, and they help them, so they give money. And different drinks, they a variety, so you don't get the same thing, you get tired of it. Not just the same Gatorade every single day. You could get unlucky and get the same. You could also get a Coke, a juice, water, whatever. So they cooperate with others. Unlike where they don't want to set people push, they are better at cooperating, pushing each other together and helping. Yes, negatives. There's a lot of sugar, but that's kind of is when it's cheaper or when people give away sugary stuff, and this is America. We like sugar. Depending on private donation volunteers, again, they don't have a set staff who would come and the set staff would come every time, say for vacations when people out. It's harder to get them. If there's more employees, they would easier to do. Little space. There's not much space in the kitchen and dining hall itself, and it's not their priority. Priority is feeding people, but it can get hot and irritating in there. 11 predator. That's it. But it's not in the best way of how it is. They are trying to fix it again. Frozen and food, they're trying to fix it, but it's not going the best. And then we made a SWOT analysis, which Matthias here will talk about.
Yeah, so we made a SWOT analysis, and I'm just going to start with the strengths. One of the strengths is that you have a free product, so it's equal for everybody. Another one is you existed for 30 years, so you're pretty much like professionals. The other thing is that you're open for lunch and breakfast, so people know when to come. It's every day. Do not have closed. And then everyone is welcome. You don't close anybody out. Get the meal. Not strange is that you're helping a good cause that's doing something great for really great people. Also your location, because you are nearby where there's many people who could use this. So that's perfect. We have a little bit about weaknesses. And we have it is a small place, so it could be bigger because you have really much stuff there, and it's a feed. So yeah, it's kind of also that you existed for the 30 years. It's also kind of weakness because you could be more updated with the mail and stuff. So also a weakness that you only are reachable by mail, and a little bit upgraded by that. And then you told us there were difficult with the volunteers. That there was somebody who didn't show up, and somebody forgot the time and stuff. There's also weaknesses that you may be elderly donors, and that will become a problem in the future. And also weaknesses that you only have one-time donation, where we talked about these automatic donations. It could be a great thing for them.
I could just say something. Existed for 30 plus years. We meant that we may rely on old habits and may not be that open to the new solutions. So maybe I should just try and see what's around and try new things.
Yeah, and I will talk about the opportunities and threats. And the opportunities and threats is external circumstance, and that means that is that the company is affected from the outside. And the opportunities for the company could be more possible with donors and volunteers. And if the technology is development year after year, and that could help your company to organize. And yeah, and a lot of people need a meal, and more people that need a meal, maybe more people will donate money to the company. And you can work with other business. I know you work with Google, so the rest of the food Google have, you can get for free. And yeah, I think it's very good opportunities to cooperate with some other companies too. And if the national economy situation is growing, maybe more people will like to donate money, and yeah, the homeless people get a better meal than just sugar. And if the media focus is on homeless people, yeah, maybe you can get again more money.
We need to raise money at the right time.
Yeah. And the threats, yeah, again, the media focus, if there's not a lot of focus on homeless and people that don't have a lot of money, maybe the donors will not give money because they cannot see the problem. And if the national economy situation is falling, people don't have a lot of money to give you, and maybe they will use them on themselves. And yes, the competition from other companies, and they could take your customers, or I know that you know what I mean. So can you do your work. Yeah, and Jane will tell you about the summary.
So the main points we want you guys to take with you from our presentation is make it easier for the volunteers to actually get contact, but we know the app groups have been working on that. You may have to look at the ways that you raise money during the recession. You actually have to solve the real problem and not just part of it. And you have to be aware of new solutions instead of having the old habits you have. So if anyone has any questions, you are very welcome to ask them.
We have time for one question.
Oh, that's good.
Several times you talked about getting to that root problem and fixing that problem. And so do you guys have a sense on what that root problem is?
You have to think, what is the problem? Is somebody's hungry, and then what's causing that problem? They don't have money to buy their own meal, so it's like kind of the system. It relies on the capitalist. So they don't have a job, and it's harder for them to get a job compared to Denmark, where the state gives you money and you can buy meals, and it's kind of difficult even to get the homes. So it's deep into your system. You need to make a change. You can't do it from here. So yeah, then I have to be an American politician. So yeah, that was enough. Yeah.
So hello everyone. I was just wondering, have any of you thought about how Angel House Soup Kitchen works and how they manage their volunteers? No, I guess so. We haven't either, but we kind of have an assumption that they use an app or a website to manage all the volunteers to make it easier for them. That's not the case. They actually use emails and email to the volunteers. I'm Rishi. I'm an HTX student, and I did the wireframing in this project.
I'm Musa, and I made the coding for this project.
I'm Matt, and I'm these two guys, and I'm the artist.
So Angel House was founded in 1986, and it's just free food for everyone. So you can be homeless or you can be rich. And they serve food every day except Thanksgiving Day and Christmas. And they have donors who go supplying.
So we spent some time speaking with Cindy, which is our contact, and we spoke about some issues with Angel House Soup Kitchen, and we found out that communication was a very big issue. So that was our main focus of our app that we were trying to solve, and it's you're only contactable through mail, or at least the volunteers are, and it's definitely difficult for them to mind it of if they have to work. Or we also found out that parking was an issue as well. So that was another goal for our app that we were trying to solve.
Yes, so our group, we chose 3 goals for this app that we want to make. And the first one was make it easier to scheduling volunteers. The other one was to make an event notification. So if there are any special events, then the volunteers would get the notifications. And if they had a shift, then they would get notified the day before or like a half hour before, so they could make the shift in time. And of course, map the parking, so it could be easier for the volunteers to show up on time and not spend a lot of time on finding a parking spot for them.
Target users for the app are the volunteers and the administration. We wanted the app to make it easier for volunteers to know the dates they have to show up. So it's easier for them to pick a date, so you don't have to send an email that has all that. And it also shows parking lots for the volunteers so that they have an easier access to it.
The group and I sat down and we made this wireframe. It's basically a skeleton of the app, and then when you open the app, you start in this log on screen. So if you're an administrator or a volunteer, you need to log in so the system knows who you are. If you aren't logged in, you can register and join the family, and then you'll come into the main screen. And we wanted to use Google as well because it makes it a whole lot easier for the volunteers to log in, because Google has so much information about you guys. So you can always log in with Google. Then we have these three main buttons. There was our goals. One was the schedules for the volunteers, so you can press any date and you can see where you have schedules and watch the team of volunteers, so you can see if your friends are volunteering that day. Then we have this events calendar where you can see special events, and if there's none, then it will say there's no special events. And then we have the mapping. I just chose the text as outline because it's just like a skeleton of that. But this is just to visualize how the things will work. And then you can go into your profile and see all the information that they have about you. That is kind of a very important thing in 2019. And you can change your password, and even we have made it easier to communicate. So we have made a messenger. It works like Facebook, so you can write to Cindy or other volunteers if you want to, chat. And then we have the settings menu where we can see your personal information as well, and log out and see some other settings. So.
And then we have a graphics user interface which is basically the skin of our app, or what the user will experience and see. And we settled a purple kind of theme, and also yellow, which is the color themes of Angel Kitchen Soup House. And that's why we've integrated kind of nuances of purple. The darker purple boxes are for when you have to write. So it requires that you do something in the boxes, and the more lighter purple is buttons basically. And then you also have rounded boxes, which indicate that it is something kind of a message or notification. And as before, we have a map of Austin. There will be arrows pointing to where there are free parking lots and spots. So that's basically what the user will experience.
So we really thought about the colors because it's really nice to look at, because they're contrast colors of each other, and in the back of a user's mind, they will automatically think, okay, we're in this does this, and yeah.
So the app, the main the app was scheduling volunteers and mapping out parking for volunteers. So we made like 3 places where you can look at. So the first one here on the left, we have all the available appointments, and the ones you have taken as a volunteer, you can see like all the shifts that are. Yeah, and on this one is just easier to look at. Just look at what's available and what's not taken. On the far right, we have the map of the parking lots, where Angel House is the red one, and all the blue ones are So it's easy for the volunteers to like use the app.
So the volunteer can press the check mark if they want the shift, and they can press the cross if they can. It's a little bit of easy. If you want to try the app, just scan the QR code with your cell phone camera. Yeah,
It should work.
it will work. So take it to the website, try it.
So we're right.
Doesn't work.
Yes.
You can spell with it.
Oh, it's alright. You can just play around with it.
Yeah, just your camera and then hold this. And then push that. You have to have that otherwise 11.
So are you guys on, everybody?
Are we ready to proceed? So this is like what we have achieved in the time frame that we were given. As of right now, the app can show both parking lots in the area and show which days that you are available for the volunteering. But as of right now, the app can't do, let's take an example, like show the event calendar if something shows up, or you can't even contact the Angel House, but it should be fairly easy to code. But we're pretty happy with what we've achieved, because these was like our main problems or issues that we were focused around.
So because we chose to do an app, it's easy to develop an the app. So if there is another need in 10 years or in 5 years, you can always code it in and optimize the app during the time frame that Angel House is still available and open. So in conclusion, this app will make it easier for Angel House, for the administration and the volunteers, and it will be more efficient and a more efficient way to work. And she doesn't need to be so stressed out. Always look into a calendar, but just open the app so
we're pretty happy with the outcome, and we think that our app will help you a lot.
And we think the volunteers will be very happy as well. So you guys have any questions? Yes, bro.
I don't know which ones have already taken.
Taken.
Good.
Yeah, that's the one you as a volunteer can take. It's the ones you have taken yourself. I may explain it wrong, but the ones you can see on the app is what you as a volunteer can take. You can't see all the others. So the only ones to show up are the ones that are there. You can see what's taken. Thanks for the question.
Oh, is there like an administrator view? So if I'm trying to fill my roster and I see no one's volunteered for Tuesday evening, like how do I as an administrator manage the schedule, and can I push things out or?
Good question. Yes, we just wanted to make the app from the volunteers kind of point of view. So it's a whole other section of the app for the administrator, so they can send messages, push notifications, events, and shifts, and all that kind of stuff to the volunteers, and you can focus on, okay, I want this volunteer to be here, and you can write to them and say, are you available at this time? So it's a whole nother point of view, but in the time frame we couldn't make both. But thank you for the question. Any other questions?
So if I'm a volunteer and I take a a slot, is there a way that I can connect that to my calendar on my phone? Are there plans for that?
Thank you for the question. Yes, we haven't done that, but we know that Apple can connect your calendar with it. So when we optimize the app, we'll be but no matter what, you'll get notifications and show up as a calendar. That was all. We don't have time for any more questions.
Hvor præsenterer man? Den der? Ja.
Right. So yeah, did you know that here in Austin, last year the population of homeless people have increased by 5%, which is why we made this app to help Angel House Soup Kitchen. My name is Adam. I was a designer. I laid the base work for the whole app.
I'm Frederick. I'm the artist. I made all the graphics and the app loops.
And I'm Thomas. I'm the coder. I coded the app.
So yeah, you already know what the Angel House. But basically, they offer homeless people food every day, both breakfast and lunch. And after a short talk with the city manager, we found that there were two main problems with it. She has to do everything manually, from accepting all applications and color code her calendar and doing all manually, so it's more efficient and more maybe automatic. And also that there's a lot of no-shows, so volunteers that apply don't show up. So we want to make the contact with the administration that.
So after having a talk with Cindy, the representative for the Angel House Kitchen, we came up to these 3 goals for our app. So we wanted to make a system that lets her know sooner if the volunteers are actually going to show up or they're going to be no-shows. We wanted a system that makes her, gives her the ability to send out notifications to the volunteers to remind them that, hey, you have a scheduled time. And a system where new volunteers can sign up from the app itself. Because right now she only gets her email. She doesn't get a phone number or anything like that.
So the app is split into when you log in, you can either log in as a volunteer or an organizer. The volunteers can obviously apply for a shift, and the organizers can change the times, the dates, all that, and decline or accept requests for shifts.
So this is our entire wireframe. It looks a bit messy, but I'm gonna break it into parts so it's easier to explain. So if you can see here, it's split into 2 apps. On this side, it's in this app, or the organizers, and over here we have the volunteers. So we're gonna start with the basics. When you log in, when you open the app, you start here. So you're gonna log in. It's gonna know if it's Cindy, then it goes to an admin setting, and if it's normal, it goes over here. And basically just to recover password. And this is for new volunteers that sign up to the app. So you're gonna get the full name, email, phone number, and they're gonna choose their password, of course. So this is the volunteer side. When you log in, you're gonna have a profile up here. You can always change your information, of course, if you want to. We also made a new feature called Pick Volunteer. So if somebody says to her,
I can't make it this day, it automatically goes here. So within the 48 hours, you can like take a shift like that if you really want to volunteer, which also helps the problem. I also made the calendar, which shows volunteers green dates, which are green dates where full yet. So if you press this, it goes over here. You can choose a role, dishwasher, cook, whatever you want, and it tells you what time it is on the day. If you take the shift, it takes you up here, where you can see your appointment. And if you want to cancel one, it just goes there, and there's a little pop-up that says, "Are you sure?" We also wanted to make so people can send notifications to Cindy without email from the app. So this would be if a group was something like that. Yeah, and they will also get notifications from Cindy, and you can see them. Cindy itself, we start over here. When she logs in, there's going to be a code that tells the app that it is an admin login. So it takes it to this instead of the other one. We have an admin settings where she can send out notifications to people on the day and 2 days ahead, as she wants them to cancel within 48 hours. She can turn off push notifications like any other app, and she can turn off applications all over. Because right now she has a lot of volunteers. Sometimes it was months ahead, even. So if she gets overwhelmed, she can always turn off her applications. Yeah. Then we have her calendar. It's a little bit different color coded. I know you color coded your own, so this will of course be designed to your preferences. So or where she's missing people. And agree dates is where she has full team. Blue dates is a group like us when we visit or special events or something like that. So if she has a whole team. So if she presses a red, you can see all the people that are coming, and she can see notifications for that day. So if there's a no-show or something like that. Then we also have applications, because she told us she likes to vet people in. She doesn't just accept anyone. And so over here, when you sign up, your application will be sent in to her, and she will vet you in, and then accept you, and then you're in the other app. And then there are notifications which you can create and measure. It's the same system. Basically, just makes it easier for her to. The whole thing, so you don't have to do it.
Yes, and after receiving an app wireframe, I began to think about how I want this app to look, and it quickly occurred to me that the main thing was I wanted to make this app for the Angel House, and it's not our app, it's their app. So I went on to the Angel House website and I found their logo. Started making my graphics from this. You see, there's two main colors. We have the star and the purple background. So what I did was, next page. First off, I started with just an old purple background like this, but I thought it was too same color. So I had a quick talk with Adam, and we came up with the idea to make this fade or gradient, where it goes from a darker purple to lighter, which I think looks good. Same goes for the frame behind the logo here. There's also a gradient of fade from bottom to top. The next thing was the buttons. First off, I had just squares and rectangles, pointy corners, but I thought it looked too sharp and was not comfortable to look at. I rounded the corners and made it more friendly and more comfortable to look at. And the text I made yellow, mainly because of the yellow star, but also because yellow complements the purple good, and it's easy to read on the purple background. Yeah. So looking like this, we have the login screen and color coding calendar.
So the prototype, we only had 5 hours to make this, so obviously we couldn't make the whole like we wanted it to, but we've mainly focused on the organizer side of the app. So when the organizer logs in, this is the first page, and this is like the shifts where you can view the dates and the start time, end time, and if it's available. For example, N for no, which means it's full that day, and Y for yes, so it's not full. And then we have requests from volunteers. So, for example, it tells you the date, and this is if the organizer has accepted it. And under that, we have the volunteer ID. I'll just get into that now. The organizer also has like a database of volunteers with their own unique ID number and their name. And when the organizer presses on, let's say Jose, he'll get the volunteer ID, the name, the address, the email, and the phone number. So the organizer has plenty of options to contact the volunteer if it's a no-show, for example. And yeah. So my experience with building the prototype, it was really hard because we hadn't had anything experience. We hadn't had any experience with the coding, the app sheet coding, and you had to create it with all the Google things like Google Sheets and Google Calendar, all that. So it was kind of hard to integrate all that, but yeah. Also, we only had the 5 hours, as I said, so a lot of time.
Yeah, some problem issues we encountered, as every student here will tell you today, is we had a little bit of time. We had too little time. We only had 5 hours to make it, and the expectation for us were a little bit higher because we haven't worked with coding or Photoshop before. Those were the main issues.
Luckily, we had some good teachers recently that guided us through the whole process, so that was nice. Yeah, and I think that we could be proud of what we've accomplished in our app. Yeah, I've never worked in Photoshop before, and I think I did a good job.
So, questions? Anyone have any questions? Okay. That's it.
Ja. Jeg tillader os bare som om jeg ikke kan finde ud af det her. Har vi ikke den der? Det var den der. Du har fået sagt det selvfølgelig.
Y'all ready? Hot soup! Angel House is the local soup kitchen. It serves approximately 250 to 300 people a day, and it's a good place. Let's just say that. Let's go introduce ourselves.
Well, I'm Daniel. I was the designer for this group.
My name is Alexander. I'm the coder of this project.
And I'm Jesper, and I'm the artist.
So likewise, we also talked with Cindy, and we discovered some main problems we wanted our app to solve. So first was the scheduling. She does it by email, which of course can get kind of messy, which ties into that next problem. But we really wanted to make a structure to the scheduling and some place for her to make it easier. And also with the messiness, when you use a lot of apps which aren't really integrated in a smart way, it can easily become kind of hard to keep track of everything. Luckily, you do with the color-coded calendar and such, but it must be very hard and take time. We also, of course, wanted to focus on the communication between the and Cindy. So we really wanted some way to notify the volunteers when they will, when they need to show up, of course, because it would be terrible if they were missing someone. And also, we kind of wanted to focus on marketing because, like the HSX student said, really social enterprise is driven by donations. So of course, you want to market yourself to these donors.
So the target use of app are the people who want to volunteer at Angel House, and this group includes a wide variety of people from all ages. Because of this, our app has to be user-friendly, simple, and to use so that all people can use it.
Right, and we all had 3 goals for our app. It's simple. We need an app application, so you can apply to volunteer in the app. And we also need scheduling for volunteers, so you can see when and who are going to work this day. And then we need the notifications for the volunteers, so if there happens anything particular news. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is our wireframe. So first up, we wanted to separate the volunteers by individuals. We made it so you have to log in or have your own account, which of course you sign up for. We also wanted it to be a little bit secure, so we made a verification code system. For example, you can't just, I don't know, like make 100 accounts and say, oh yeah, we're volunteering the whole year. So the first screen you go into after logging in will be the news screen. The news screen kind of works for both like food news, like for example, for some reason the food delivery doesn't show up, you can what do we call it? Announce it here, but also for how many meals you served that day, to also let the volunteer know that you did something right this time, or it helped a lot. So the next page we have this calendar, which is color-coded. So the red days mean they are fully booked for volunteering, and the green are available days. And also the yellow are your requested volunteer days that haven't been confirmed, and the purple are the confirmed ones. So actually, if you press each date, you'll get a pop-up notification, like information about that day. For example, if you press the red one, you'll see it's fully booked, but you'll also be have the option to be put on the waiting list. For example, if somebody says, "Oh, I can't make it that day," you'll be put in instead. Also, for example, if you press on the commute day, you can easily press apply. Like, I want to volunteer that day. For your own confirmed ones, you also have the option to say, I can't make it that day. For example, if something important shows up. So that you'll have time to find a replacement. We also made this book option right down here, where you can put in an interval of dates. For example, if you're available for a month to volunteer, it'd be a lot easier just to put it in there instead of going through each date, of course. We also wanted a way to notify the volunteers, so we did that via pop-up notifications. For example, we all had the app alert earlier. We wanted something not that intense, but more similar to that. For example, you'll get a notification a day before you volunteer, a notification for when your requested volunteering days are accepted. Also, like an hour before you're going to volunteer, and also if something shows up in the queue.
Yeah. Well, I looked at Daniel's design, and I thought
this is really good. This is a simple design. And I thought, maybe I should throw some color in it, perhaps. So that's what I did. I put on some purple color, because purple symbolizes ambition. And I thought of ambition to change for the better. I just thought it should be simple as possible. So I put a big button for login and to sign up, and then we got like notifications where it's also like this green bluish color. And then when you can't make it, then I made it red so it makes sure that you're absolutely sure that you can't make it. Yeah.
And now I'd like to walk you through the app, and you can follow along if you like by scanning the QR code.
Are you all ready? Okay.
We're gonna show up on the keypad.
Yeah, when you open up the app, you're greeted with the news page that Daniel talked about, and you can see a bunch of example news here. And if you click on one of them, you will see a larger picture and some more detailed text down here. And if we click on the profile button, this is where the volunteers can register and create a user and log in. And when they log in, this gives them access to the personalized schedule. And all of this information is sent to the client so that they have a database of all the volunteers and their personal contact information. If they want to apply, this is what I do. Set an interval. I would like to volunteer from this date, and then just put in a date right here. And this is then sent to the client as well, along with their user and contact information. And the calendar is here, and we can see, as Daniel talked about, the color coding, the fully booked days, and the blue dates are the dates which were confirmed for volunteering. So if we click on one of these, you can see the debut. It looks kind of weird on this, but see the time frame here. And if you click on this again, you can see some more information on the exact times, the duration, and your status. And you can see this is confirmed. There's also an address which can open up in Google Maps. And if we click on another, like the request a volunteer day here, go in on this, you can see that the status is not confirmed yet. And then the volunteer will have to go in here and manually confirm it. And we also included another tab if the volunteers wanted to get some information about parking. They can do that by clicking up in the top left corner and then clicking on the parking tab. This shows all the nearby parking spaces and the location of your house right here in the middle. Yeah, that's about it for the prototype so far. Yeah.
So to summarize, also like the other groups, we didn't have a lot of time actually to get this done. So yeah, that's why we really wanted to make something more, but we just didn't have the time. My personal experience while doing this project, it was very fun. Also because the theme, of course, and also I really enjoyed building wireframe.
Well, for me personally, I really liked how the designs I actually made, but in the end, it began to become more and more complex. It's not simple anymore. Then I had to learn for like 5 minutes to do all this. So, so my experience, I just had a really time doing this.
Personally, the thing I liked the most was getting the calendar to work, because I have no experience with the program we're using and basically no experience with coding in general. But in the end, that's also the most proud of.
You all have any questions?
I feel like I'm hearing a bit of a reoccurring theme on how to deal with compressed timelines. And I think that's something that, in the real world you see all the time. So I'm wondering if any of you guys have experience with that and what we can maybe say to help you guys with that. Like, I know personally, like, the more crisp you can get on the scope of work and the more narrow you can focus on the problem you're trying to solve, the better. Any other kind of ideas on how you can deal with a really compressed timeline?
Okay, thank you for the question. So you're asking if we have any deal with the stress that comes.
Yeah. So if you only have, say, 2 weeks or however long to go from designing to building, or from ideation all the way through to the end, I guess it would be a good conversation to have on how do you manage a compressed timeline.
Yeah, well, ironically, it would be with very good planning. So that is definitely a way, for me at least. Then I know, am I behind on this, or how much time do I have on this? And I could also schedule, okay, how good does this need to be with the amount of time I had to work on it, or do I just need to move on, for example?
Mm-hmm.
But well, the way this what do you call it, course was structured was very kind of messy, because we started off at being in a group with the HHX students, and then kind of switched halfway.
Mm-hmm.
And we also we did a lot of homework. We actually thought we were going to work with Meals on Wheels, but then last minute it changed. So yeah, that was also kind of hard to deal with, if you can call it that. But well, I think overall we're pretty happy. So we made the best situation. Say that.
Awesome.
Any more questions?
I have one.
Yeah, okay.
You mentioned you were into marketing as well.
Oh yeah.
Marketing.
Well, it's not exactly marketing, but more marketing towards the volunteer again. That was the whole point of the news page. Sorry, to have, for example, how many meals you served that day, to let the volunteer know that you're doing a difference. You helped 300 people's lives today by serving them a meal. So that was not like a towards the donators, but maybe like, for example, to make sure you get another volunteer. Yeah.
So I have a follow-up question to that. That idea, which I think is really good, how would you count those
meals? That's a good question. Well, they have like ticket system, is that right? And then of course you can see how many tickets that we give out this day. I remember when we were done volunteering, you said we served. Now I can't remember the number.
It was like
300 and something, which of course felt very good to know, because then that showed. Any more questions? Or
got one more. So it seems. So how come? Just out of curiosity, why is Photoshop the tool being used for design?
Well, it was the only available option I had. I didn't really have any other options. I was really pressed on to only work with this. That's why I had a really short time. If I had a little bit more time, I could probably make a small, prettier version of it.
What would you have used if you could have chosen?
Well, can't really remember what it's called. Yeah. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're done now. Thank you.
Virker den der app? Ja.
snakke om det.
Fint frem tilbage, bare ikke det.
Okay.
Stille i og åbent.
So many of us have tried that feeling of making a plan and then having a few people just saying that the minute before it begins, oh, come, sorry. So you only have the people that plan and pay more than you enjoy persons, and that problem we want to solve for since with Angel House Soup Kitchen because she have a lot of stuff to organize.
Okay, here's a short overview of what we're going through today. We'll start off with an introduction to who we are and what we're doing here in general. And we'll talk some of the problem and the target user and get into the goal of that. Where we after that we'll go in and show you how it all functions and comes together.
So I'm Thomas, I'm the designer of that. I'm Victor, I'm the artist.
And I'm Klaus, I'm the programmer.
So this project is about making an app for a non-profit organization, which in this case is Angel House Soup Kitchen. And yeah, that was given this project and go out for a day and try being volunteers and get a feeling of what it was like being volunteers in this place. And the goal we had like main goal was to make it easier for the manager or the organizer to like figure out who's coming and who's not coming. An easier plan, you'd say. Problem. So the problem with House Soup Kitchen was that Cindy, the manager, was using 4 different apps to manage all the volunteers and which days they were coming, and she was messaging with them on Google. And she was also using Gmail and her calendar app, which made it kind of confusing, and it could stress you out. You would have to check all the different apps before she could start actually work. The way we would solve it was by combining all of these different elements into one app, and so it was I still make it simple. So well, yeah, I would say time.
Okay, the target user. As said before, primary target user is Cindy, the manager of Angel House Soup Kitchen, but our app would be able to be adapted to other organizations, so that other managers would be able to use features and have an easier time organizing their day-to-day tasks.
Obviously, volunteers can also use the app to make an account, put in their information, and then choosing the dates they want to work on. So we sat down and talked with Cindy. She came here and we asked some different questions, and we came up with 3 main goals. Our first goal was to go from using Google
keep an Gmail to only using Gmail and then using it over the app, so that she don't need to go to Gmail to write an email, but just pick out all the volunteers you want to send an email to, and then send it. We want to make an integration of new volunteers and sending confirmation for availability, and that will come later in a more easier way to see it, you can say. And we want to make it automatically scheduling volunteers in this starting system, and this is basically calendar, because she uses these code or color codes, and she is typing in herself, and if she misses a person, then somehow there is going to be a mistake, and that can end up in some stressed work. And then we have the wireframe, and this wireframe is made on being the manager. So you log in with Gmail, and in that way the whole app is on that one Gmail. But Cindy doesn't only have one Gmail; yeah, it has two. The first one is sorry for that. The first Gmail is connected to the application. So when volunteers write an email to that specific mail, it only comes in the applications and not in her messages. While her normal Gmail she uses now, it's gonna be in the other section. So she can track of who's messaging, like some info, and who's actually sending in this application. But when we come from the come up to the main screen, we have 4 different buttons. We have the calendar, applications, volunteers, and messages. As I said, with the applications, it's only for new volunteers, and in that way, she can also choose if she wants them, and she has a specific form she's sending out on the website. In that way, the volunteers can send in an application without filling out the form, so that she knows she has the right information she needs. And then she can go to the calendar, and we have chosen 3 different color codes, like in the traffic light, we have the red light for not coming, and we have the yellow for not answered, and the green for coming. And so you can always press on these colors to choose if they have answered, if they are green, and then just a day before, yes, okay, we can't come, and she can go in, and in that way she can easily keep track of who's coming and not. And the volunteers is an easy way for her to pick out new volunteers and send a message to them that someone is not coming, can you come instead? And the Gmail is like when you press on the messages, it transfers you to Gmail, the normal Gmail, and in that way you don't need to share apps, but you can actually just use this app to go to Gmail. And yeah, that's and then the 3 main parts of this wireframe is this 3 or 4 apps put into one, and it's easy to organize volunteers and not get stuck with someone. And she have this plug-in system. She's plugging in herself, but it's easier for her to keep track of. Yeah, so I chose the theme of the app. This is how it would look like for a user, and this is what you see when you open the app. So this is like the loading screen. Usually you would see this screen for 1 second, how slow your phone is, but this is just like the opening screen. After that, you get into this, the login page, where you're like you in, right, your email and password and so on, and then you get into the main part of the app. You know, you're inside the app, get into the menu and stuff like that.
Yeah, the colors were chosen because purple, it means generosity, altruism, and helping people. Yellow and orange means happiness, creativity, life, and helping people, being good to others. So, and that is essentially what you would want in a volunteer. You want someone to be there to help someone and be there to bring happiness to other people's lives, which is kind of what we want to get that out from volunteers with this college. You see, they all have the same theme, all different screens, except these two, because these are like the two first screens you see before you get into the app. So it's kind of like the gate before getting in. I thought it was kind of fun. Yeah. And yeah, this was the first screen. We took the logo on the side, changed a bit, and put it into some what you call background signs, and use that as the logo throughout the app. This is like, see, you have your profile up here with your profile picture. You can click on that and you can change your stuff. This is like a forgot password page where these are like these are kind of transparent. So when you write something in, they're like kind of transparent, so you can see like there's a difference between here and like the background. And this is how the calendar looks like close up, where you can see you can click on the different names and you can see like all their contact info, their emails, their call them if they're not showing up. And yeah.
Okay, here's a concept prototype. As with all the others, you can scan the QR code and try out app out. I go through it with you. Just make a sound when you're in. If y'all got access, just yell, praise the Lord. Okay. Here's our front page, where you will be able to see all your volunteers. An example of this is Victor right here. Then you can see his name if you have accepted him at the current time. Some info about him. And then the date where his next shift is. And when he's arriving and when he's going again. And then you can go in here, Victor. You can you can write in a mail. It doesn't work on the PC, but if you click on that right there, you'll be redirected into your Gmail app, where you will be able to write directly to him. But as you can see right here, right, you can go in to Mr. Snack, and you should be able to fire him in this trash can. So when you click the trash, it takes itself out. Then if you want to see when people are working, you can go back here into the calendar. I accidentally placed it all in February. Here's all the guys. If you doubt Alex, for example, you can just click on him. It should read to him. Why doesn't it do that? Yeah, then just click the box over there and you get this information. I hope this gave some insight in the app and its functionality.
so that it might be something you will use in the future or take inspiration from at least. Summary. Our experiences while building this prototype and such, it was we learned a lot of new things, but we have a very restrictive time limit, as all the others said, and that was a big issue for us, really. A lot of the things that we're missing, such as the color coding, we would be able to do that if we just had a couple more hours to work on this app. And that's the solution also right there. Our favorite part about building this, for my part, was getting to learn how to code and just get in there and try it out. Bonus of it being for charity, it makes it a little more fun.
So I really worked with Photoshop that much. I worked with other painting apps, but not Photoshop in general. So it was different to work with it the way I worked with it in this project. But I definitely learned a lot, with the different tools you have in Photoshop. And I mean, there are better alternatives than Photoshop, but the time we had, I think we did pretty good.
Doing the wireframe wasn't the hardest part. It was a very easy program to work with. But still, there is some the fact that I needed to be nearly done before Victor could start the graphics. It put some pressure on me because even though it's easy to work with, there's still many things you need to plug in, and they need to look the same, or at least to as much as possible, you could say. But the biggest problem was probably that I didn't really figure out how it should work, because I was the one that should say what should go to where and which programs they need to put together, and that took some time to figure out.
What advantage do you find by, instead of integrating the messaging into the app, by uploading that back to a Gmail, working in conjunction with the two apps instead of all in one?
Yeah, so what you're asking is why we put Gmail as a separate part of the app. Basically, because we use Gmail as the main source for messaging. So making a new sort of like email loading screen in the app would be hard, and making this way to Gmail is way easier. And with the time we have as an easy solution, but you could make a messaging function in the app. But yeah.
What we kind of wanted was like when you clicked on an email, it would just pop up, so it would be would be inside the app, but it would still look like the normal way of Gmail, normal layout of Gmail. So it would just pop up inside the app. That was what we wanted, yeah. But that was kind of hard to do. So
It's hard to code, and it takes time. Again, much of that.
I think we're running out of time now, so.
Everybody, thank y'all a lot. Those are our Angel House presentations. We're, of course, running way behind schedule, so we're just going to take a short 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and hear our Meals on Wheels presentations.
That's not you guys.
I got
Så glæder mig.
Get it back on a pretty simple day.
That's good.
It's tomorrow. Midweek.
When you are ready.
We're ready. Hang on.
Jeg fryser, så kommer man til at ligne noget.
We'll see if it lets well too.
Når det er, det er nogen af til selv. Så er det frem til. Nogensinde starter
Should we just begin? Should we just begin? Should we just begin?
Start? Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started with our second group from Meals on Wheels. We'll have the business students present first, and then we have three different teams that did apps to show y'all some.
Yeah, as Martin Luther King once said, we must learn to live together as brothers who will perish together as friends. This quote of how crucial helping other people and integrating with other people is for a society to succeed. Yeah, we are the business group from Meals on Wheels. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Patrick. My name is Simon.
I'm Carla. My name is Maria.
To start off with, we will just shortly introduce the Meals on Wheels program. Meals on Wheels is a non-profit organization that delivers 3,000 meals a day. And within the first 5 years, they delivered 330 people 6 times a week. The vision is to nourish and enrich the lives of the homebound. And besides delivering food, they deliver home repairs, shopping assistance, meals and groceries, pet food, and healthcare. Yeah, when we were working with this Meals on Wheels, we were asked, why does the USA embrace social leadership, and how does Denmark manage these social issues? First of all, there are the ethical reasons that everybody should have equal opportunity, and therefore we should all help. Also the tax rate. America is a very liberalistic society, and therefore not very fond of high taxes. And the social leadership allows the welfare to be financed privately and not through the system in Denmark. This is Adam Smith, the theory of the invisible hands, which is with high competition and independent organizations will because these companies compete against each other. And lastly, non-profit organizations think more about the vision and less about self-success. So the real goal is actually just to help these people, not to make so much money. In Denmark, we manage social issues through the system, which also means that we have a very high tax rate.
Question: You say, how do we uncover social problems and how do we manage these problems they are identified? So the one thing when it comes to uncovering social problems in America is awareness, because if the society is not aware of social problems, then nobody will help anybody because it doesn't happen within the system but in the society. This is where we see the difference between and the USA. Because in Denmark, social handling of social problems happens inside the system, where in the USA, it's the society. So the problem with if people are is that people tend to kind of social problems, but once they are identified, people would make new non-profits and donate to already existing goods. The way people get aware of these problems, media and commercials, and also the difference. And when people want to help, usually want to help everybody. So sometimes you concentrate on every social vulnerable in the society, it gets kind of hard in bad times where you don't get enough donations. And if you concentrate on a certain social group and make clear guidelines, it will be easier to choose somebody to help another in bad times and kind of optimize your system in good times. And Meals on Wheels have a huge target group, which could be a bad thing in times with fewer donations.
Can social entrepreneurship actually add to or create new problems? If we look at Meals on Wheels, then people are able to take advantage of them because they don't really have any clear guidelines about who is able to get their service. So someone might have other opportunities, but choose Meals on Wheels because it would be the easier choice. And someone might be cheap, so they actually have the money to hire some other service, but want to save the money by using Meals on Wheels instead. Another problem is laziness. Say a person is paralyzed from the waist down, then practically they are able to get their own stuff by using like a wheelchair, but again, Meals on Wheels would be an easier choice. If you look at what problems the social entrepreneurship creates and adds to in general, then again there's laziness. Some might get a negative mindset and think and they should like work and pay when fundamentally they could just not and use these non-profit organizations instead live in a shelter and get food from the organizations and then just do nothing all day instead. Then there are the demographic problems. Say a certain city has very good homeless conditions due to the non-profit organizations, so they have like shelters and food services. Then that would increase the homelessness in that city because homeless people move there. And then the other inhabitants in that city will move away because the city would be like a safe, nice community to live in. So instead of fixing the problem, kind of just gathering it. And the last thing is that I was talking about how it was easy to take advantage of the non-profit organizations, and that could be any organization. And that would cause inequality because the organization might be prioritizing wrong, and the organization would like be using their services and resources on the wrong people instead of those who really need it.
Yes, and I will answer on the question, when a non-profit is unable to drive revenue outside of donations, what problems can arise and how can we manage this issue? If the donations is falling, you will have a hard time to finance the food and other assets like kitchen equipment or how you transport the food, the materials for the transportation. And when you don't get constant revenue, but you live off donations, it would be hard to make a strategic plan about because you don't know how much money you will get or when you will get it. It would only depends on how much the individual is donating to the company. And if, as I said, the donation would be falling, it would be hard to finance new advertisements, so you could get the donation.
Yeah, and I'll be asking this question. Ultimately, what are the positives of Meals on Wheels and what are the negatives? A positive is that Meals on Wheels are filling a need by delivering food to those who can't get out of their homes and need some help to get some food and do grocery shopping. And they are helping over 1,000 clients. Over 7,000 of the volunteers, which is about 1% of Austin's population, are volunteering, and they are helping Meals on Wheels deliver the food. And a negative is that Meals on Wheels have a little bit of a bad communication since some of the volunteers can't take their routes. They have to call in, and sometimes there could be a queue. There's so many who can't maybe take the route because of different reasons. And then there'll be a queue, and then it could take some time. So instead, they could maybe make SMS system. Are dedicated resources. It's also everything is almost done on paper, so maybe they should be more digitalized.
We have made a SWOT analysis. The strength is that we also have many volunteers and they also have clients. And it's not a very demanding, everybody can volunteer. And they use their money efficiently, so 87% of the dollar goes to the organization. And the volunteers is well instructed so that they can react to different situations. And Ms. Wills have a great placement because it's in the out of town weaknesses is, like I said earlier, the outdated resource and they are living off donations. Unclear target groups, so we don't know which people is more important to live for less. And private donators dictate the use of money. So if someone donates to Ms. Wills and said they use the money, I think Ms. think it's more about use something else. Ms. is
And now the external conditions. Opportunities first. Meals and Will can take advantage of the technological development, such as they can upgrade their system so it's more digital, and make alliances and partnerships. Maybe if a volunteer is out delivering food and their car breaks down, it might be good to have insurance through the Meals on Wheels. It's also an opportunity for Meals on Wheels when the inequality is increasing, because then there is more people to feed. And the lowering taxation is also an opportunity, because then people get more money in hand and has more money to donate. Threats. Again, the financial problems for the volunteers, if their car breaks down, it can be very expensive. Also, the safety for the volunteers is a threat sometimes, because some poor areas is a bit sketchy sometimes. They might not feel comfortable. And Wills is also vulnerable for the economic situation. For instance, if there is a recession, people might feed themselves before they help others. And there is a sharp competition, because others start to realize that it's a good thing to make a non-profit, so they have some competition.
Yeah, and just a summary. Why the US is embracing these social entrepreneurships like Meals on Wheels is because they have a very liberalistic society that where they support, because we in Denmark, it is in our government, so we can they solve the problems that nonprofits are doing in the USA. And what has a crucial influence on Meals on Wheels would be the external conditions. Like Simon said, the volunteer base. People could say, I don't want to volunteer because if my car breaks down, I don't have money to fix it, or I don't feel safe running around these sketchy neighborhoods. So that would be something you could do better. And then the last thing is the technological development, just like Simon said, to just update the platforms you use. Do you guys have any questions?
One question?
One question.
So I've heard from kind of both of these SWOT presentations that, there's with nonprofits being reliant on donations, that puts you in kind of a vulnerable situation. Did you guys see opportunities for Meals on Wheels to develop lines of revenue that aren't dependent on donations?
Thank you for the question. And if we see any revenue, any possible product that could be sold to make a revenue,
I think to make a revenue, you would have to sell a product. And I think one of the core things that it's great about Meals on Wheels is that it's free, which also corresponds with the target group, that they are very vulnerable and socially low people that can't afford these things. So I think it's great.
Do you think they could potentially find another audience to gain revenue from that isn't the people that they serve meals to potentially?
I believe they could expand the target group to say to still the poor people, but the people who can pay for their food, and just make them pay a little extra, but it just isn't. It's hard to say. Was that enough?
Sort of dovetailing on your idea, maybe you could have a partner retailer that would consistently give a percentage of your sales to Meals on Wheels. Therefore, there would be a constant stream from the sales of their merchandise.
Yeah.
Can I actually just jog the memory real quick as we talked about this? Some of the things that you could do is do like electronic funds transfers while we're not in a recession. Remember we were saying like ways that we could actually get people to commit now so they don't notice it because it's such a small dollar volume. So maybe not an additional product set, but we could also do stuff that make the decision now so it carries over that. Yeah. Makes sense?
Yeah.
There are, just continuing the piggybacking, there are lots of businesses here in Austin that have programs where if you spend, say, $7.50, they'll take that remainder and apply it as a donation to a nonprofit business. We've done that in the past, partnering with different grocery stores to allow, remainders on different purchases to generate a bulk donation to us, and finding something like that that's a permanent partnership would, I think, be kind of what they're going after here. So
thank you for your time.
Okay.
Small and small. I'm going to sneak out before these guys start Thanks so much. This was awesome. What a great event.
I know it takes a lot out of your day.
I know, it was really, really good. I do a little bit of work on this semester, so that's quite a how to develop
it's the mountain that we climb every day.
Yeah,
but
sure,
it is an interesting problem.
Yeah,
Figure out
What was your name again?
Sam.
Sam,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Yeah.
Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Okay, so it's almost lunchtime, so I think some of y'all are pretty hungry, but so are some of the old people in the community, and some of them can't even make food themselves. That's why they rely on companies or organizations like Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, so like you might see we only 2 people in our group compared to the other groups that are 3 people. That means we have to take some more roles in our group, and my role was coder. I made the app. My name is Thomas.
Yeah, and my name is Matthias, and I'm the artist and designer.
And like the goal for our group was to make it easier for Meals on Wheels doing that every day, and make it easier for the clients and the volunteers to get food.
Yeah. So who is Meals on Wheels? Meals on Wheels, it's a delivery program. They do other services, but we will mainly focus on the meal delivery here. So, for example, the old people who can't make dinner, lunch for themselves, Meals on Wheels go out and give them a little lunchbox with warm and cold food. So it's a community-based service, which means that it's the volunteers of this community that go out to the clients who live near. So it's pretty much just the community helps each other. And some of the problems there's with it is the communication. Like if you show up at a client's house and they're not home, you'll have to call into the head office, which then have to call the client. So the volunteer can't call the client himself. So it's a pretty outdated workflow. You can just contact each other. And if the client wants to cancel now, they also have to call into the head office, which then have to call the volunteer and the kitchen. So you have to call a lot of people just to do one thing. We see that as a problem.
So for our app, we have chosen to target the client because it's the client that is the main problem. Like I said before, all this, the whole structure of Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
And so we set up these 3 goals. The first goal was to give the client the ability to decline orders a lot easier. And the second goal was to make the communication between volunteers, clients, and Meals on Wheels a lot easier than it is now. And the third goal is just to make it easier to tell volunteers that the client has declined or something happened, so they don't need it.
And based on these goals, we made the wireframe, which is basically how the app works. And this is just the whole picture. I'll zoom in a bit. So you start out with the login page where you press login and you go to services. At service, you're going to press information, which takes you to the information page, which tells you about the service. It's Monday, you get, and then you can go back and you can press cancel service, which is like if you have to go to a birthday party, you don't need to have the food. And if you cancel on accident, you can call Meals on Wheels to get it back. When you press cancel, you'll get this pop-up screen, which is just, are you sure you want to cancel? So if you press an accident, you're not just cancel. And if you press yes, you'll go to why would you like to. So it's mainly because Meals on Wheels wants to know why people cancel. So the client can write, I'm going to a birthday party. So Meals on Wheels knows they don't need food because they're going to get it somewhere else. And when you press send, it goes back to the service page without the service you just canceled. You can press on the menu button here, and it will make this pop-up screen where you can press settings, profile, services, messages, and logout. And if you press logout, you log in basically. But if you press messages, we'll go to this message page where your service is, and it's just for like service 3 is Monday, and then you press on this and you'll see the name of the volunteer, and you can write something like, I'm in the backyard, go around my house. So it's easier for the volunteer to contact the client, and the client can contact the volunteer with this additional. If you press settings, you'll go to this page where it has updated info, which is also the profile page. And the client can choose to take a profile picture, so the volunteer has it's a bit easier to find the client. And it has name, phone number, address, and you can add additional information here too. So like if you have a dog and the volunteer needs to watch out for that. It also has push notifications, so every time you get a message, it will pop up on your phone, and contact info for Meals on. So yeah, I was also the artist, so I skinned the wireframe, and this is the whole picture again. And I chose these colors because it's the logo's colors. So we want to have that all the way through the app, and it has this split screen. It goes from the blue up against to the yellow. And we have these boxes here with this shadow line, so it indicates that it's just a box, and all the buttons has this black frame around it. So it's pretty easy for older people to know it's a button and not just a box. And the font is very big because old people might have a hard time seeing what it says. And like to go back, it's pretty easy to use. And some of the pop-up screens are a different color because it needs to be very clear that it's a pop-up screen and not just another screen. And like the menu here, it pops out in front of this, so therefore the text is white. So when it pops out in front of the messages, it's easy to see that it's a new page coming.
I made a prototype of the app. If you want to try on your phone, you can scan the code, but I'm also going to show it on the screen and after.
med, Bjarke.
Okay, so in the bottom, I made these three like menus. So we have this week some I'm in. This is the menu I'm in, and you have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Goes to the weekend, and on Monday I can like go in and I can select what kind of meal I want. If I click here, I can select the meal I want on Monday. I can choose Meals on Wheels or other services, and in services menu you can see like all the services that Meals on Wheels provide, and you can see under the service it says ordered or not ordered. That's so if like I had ordered Meals on Wheels on Monday, so I can go in and say I want to decline the order. Yeah, and then it's gonna say not ordered after I've done that. But also and in the service menu, if you click on and service, you can scroll down and you can see like Monday and Tuesday I have chosen this service. So we have like this overview of which services you have which days. So it's a lot easier. And the final menu I made was the contact, because we wanted to make it easy for the client to contact Meals on Wheels. But also the volunteer you have on that certain day, you are like, say it was Monday today. I could call the volunteer I have today and say, or just leave a message and say like, I'm not home between 11 and 12, to make it easier for them so they don't show up at that time. Yeah, that's the app, like just quick.
So some of the problems we ran into was of time, like anyone else, and we were only 2 people for a 3-month job, so it was pretty stressed.
Yeah, but also like the other group says, the programs we used, it was first time for me using app sheets to create an app, and I don't think Matthias has a lot of experience with his programs. But also we were pretty badly informed. Like before we came here, we didn't know what we were supposed to do here. It was only when we had the first class here we like got informed of what was gonna go and what we were supposed to be doing. And halfway through it all, a lot of things changed, so we got a lot confused.
Yeah, but we are happy with something. The finished product. In the time we actually made a pretty good product, and our app actually complete all the for it.
Yeah, and because we are only 2 people, we have to work really good together, and I would say we did that. We accomplished a lot in the short time we have, and we got some new skills in a way.
I'm curious to know, do you have ideas of how the application would be, used for the actual company side of things? Whether we could see that clients and volunteers are communicating back and forth. Is there like an idea in y'all's mind
how Meals on Wheels
would apply?
We didn't have the time to make different apps, but Meals on Wheels will have this big overview of it. So they can see all the chats and things, and every time a client declines or cancel an order, it will pop up for them too. So Meals on Wheels will see everything.
Well done.
So y'all don't need to spend a lot of time talking about the organization.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Okay.
Just focus on your app. Yeah.
Although, gotta figure about.
Oh.
Art is never forgotten. It just abandoned, just like the clients of the Wheels on Wheels program.
I'm Umut and I'm the designer.
I'm Frederick and I'm the artist.
I'm Matt, and I'm the coder. And what we set out to do was improve the communication between the volunteers and the main Meals on Wheels organization. So the problem that we found was that for like the same problem that the other group had, when you find something that is wrong with the client, you need to call into the office and they have to change the note about the client. But wouldn't it be much easier for the volunteer just to change the note in the first place? And we also talked to a girl from the organization who said that you are gonna have a collaboration with the hospital soon, and therefore you like updates on how the person was doing over time.
So our target users are the volunteers and the workers at Meals on Wheels. Because the volunteers should be to update the client and knows about the client.
Yeah, and goals for the app was to make it easier for the volunteers and for Meals on Wheels to update client information, and to make it digitalized, so all the data was kept in one place.
So the wireframe, this is how the app should function. You start off with your login. If you forgot your password, you get to this screen. You can change your password, and the username is something everyone gets when they start as a volunteer. From there, you get to the menu, choose between notifications, calendar schedule, browse, plan, where you get the messages of your notification. A new message to the client if you are running late or if something happens. Then you can read messages from clients, reply to them. And then we have the calendar schedules where you can see your schedule you've written out yourself. And then you can see your plans on the dates. And we have a route system where you will be able to have your route lists with the notes, the name of the client, and you will be able to pick a route, and it will automatically show you the best route to the place. And then we have a client, the important part of that, where you'll be able to see a list of the clients you're serving. Then you'll be able to click on them, see the name, age, address, and phone number. Then you'll be able to see the recent visits, the feedback from volunteers, and then you can rate and give your own feedback for the day. And this will be used as a cooperation with hospitals.
The design, we wanted to make it simple, so it's not confusing and easy to use. So all the buttons is the same color and shape, and it's easy to figure out and steer around.
So we can move up to the prototype now. So we have a QR code right here that you can scan if you want to, and you can also don't if you wouldn't want to. So we can open the app, and then we have a login screen and a register screen, and those are for the volunteers. However, they don't work because the security between app sheets and Google Slides, Google Sheets are pretty damn bad. So yeah, they don't work at all. It's just forms. So you can move on to create a new client. There, this is actually for the Meals on Wheels team, where they can create a new client and they can specify what kind of meal type they should get us. So yeah. And we can move on to the clients. And this is like when you volunteer for meals, you get a sheet of paper where the addresses and the names and the meal types are. And we thought we could think that instead of you having to have a piece of paper with you. And then you can go and edit the notes. For example, if you go under Trump, you can see that his current notes are, yeah, and you can put it back again, save, and you can see the addresses. And this is just random addresses, just to show the point. So, yeah. So let's move back into the. Can we make it full screen? So some of our goals we didn't actually reach. For example, number 2, we have Meals on Wheels. They need to be able to update the client information. They can, but it could be done with a different app instead of ours, because we mainly focused on the volunteer, as you could see in the main thing. And also the login screen, it doesn't work because, like as I said, the security between app sheets and Google Sheets are pretty damn bad. So yeah, didn't implement that.
Yeah, and summarizing, my experience was that I don't have any experience with the Photoshop, and I was sick those 2 days. We worked on it, so I didn't have any time to do the design, but I did a little, and I think it went okay.
Yeah. So I had a little experience with programming before this, but like working in app sheets compared to other programming languages is very different. Like you focus more on like the data side, and it just generates a GUI for you. So
I don't. The app the program I was using wasn't really that hard to use. It was quite easy because you could choose yourself, but it was more like what should be in the app and what would you have in it to make it a good app and make it useful.
So any questions?
So you guys have the smiley face, so that's the intention for that is a volunteer can report back the condition of the person.
Yeah, we want to like make it really easy and intuitive for the volunteers, like click on a button instead of having to fill out the entire note system. If you just run like how we was doing compared to yesterday or something.
And that gets tracked to consent.
Yeah, so like you get a history, like it's also in a list.
And if there's so many like unhealthy, bad faces, does something happen?
I think we should send the data to the hospital where they like the entire idea behind it was that Meals on Wheels wanted to collaborate with a local hospital. So like when you get signed out for the hospital, could use the data gathered by Meals on Wheels to like keep track on the plans.
Then would go the
To-
positive and negative
yeah.
data would go to the hospital.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
It's actually a great way to simplify a very lengthy process for us. We do have checks and balances and stuff like that, but there's a lot of things, the bureaucracy that we go through with every step.
That quality. Just focus on your app.
We're gonna throw through this.
It's incredible, but I mean that's a really quick.
All right, we are making an app for Meals on Wheels, and we're Group 7, and we want to go home. Introduction. We are Anders, Victor, and Rasmus. Okay, we got to roll.
Yeah, we have 3 problems. One of them was delivering, which now they have to manually put in the address. So we want to fix that by just putting in a map that could make it more efficient route. And then another one was the one with the clients, if they don't open the door instead of calling the office. We want to make a private call. And then keeping track of all the routes so they don't forget them. We want to make a calendar.
So the targeted user is a volunteer within the Meals on Wheels. There are different kinds of volunteers, both in kitchen and management, and the one we wanted to focus on was the driver volunteers. And we had 3 goals for our app. Goal 1 was to make it easier for the volunteer to find the client and make an efficient route to the clients. And goal 2 was to make it easier for the volunteer to contact the client. Goal 3 was to make it easier for the volunteer to keep track of the routes and cancelling of the routes with ease.
And then the wire. We see the login screen, nothing special, so we're just going. To the front page where first we have this calendar where the yellow ones are available routes you can accept, and then the green ones are ones you have accepted, which then are down under My Plans, where instead of the sheet of paper, it just shows in here. And then we have emails where you can get messages from Meals on Wheels. Like if someone canceled their route, you could get a message that someone canceled it and you could take it. Then a button to open maps with the most efficient route. And also some notifications that you have a delivery tomorrow.
And I created the GUI, or the graphical user interface, and I'd like to talk a little about the colors, shapes, and elements that we used to create it. And especially the colors, the light teal or just teal and the light green, I've used as gradients throughout some of the buttons on the interface, and they're from the logo, as you probably know. And a lot of the shapes that we use are just rounded boxes with rounded corners, and they look clean. Yeah, and some of the buttons that you don't use as often, like the logout button and stuff like that, are like a little grayed out. You don't really need to know where they are, and you need to know where they are, but you don't need to know their presence as much. All right, and you can see the elements that I've used in the creation of the GUI.
Yeah, so last we wanted the concept prototype. You can just scan the QR code if you want to follow along, but you really don't have to, because we're going to show it for you. Let's actually do that. It's not a link. It's type it in. Oh. All right. So, first of all, you'll see a list of the different people you have to deliver to. If you click on the people, you can see all the details, like the name, this person's called Guy, address, if it's delivered or not, the meal, a note, and their birthday. That's all the information we got while we were out delivering, so I thought it was important to put that on. A thing you'll see is that we have a number, and we were informed that that's not allowed to give out numbers, so instead we will just have a call instead of actually showing the numbers, but we couldn't do that in the app, so it's just to demonstrate. Down in the corner, you'll see 2 buttons. One is to confirm delivery, Let's just deliver to this guy. And the other is for emergencies. This one will call the head office of Meals on Wheels. Not the head office, but it'll call the Meals on Wheels. And you'll see Guy is no longer on the list, so he's been removed. We also made the calendar. You will see that last month, right? We have a few routes. They have some funny names, but don't mind that. We also made a list with all the routes, and if you see, if I go inside, you can see information. And we would like a bit of a map so you can see where the route goes, and just generally where it is. And you can just confirm I want to take this route, and it'll pop up within. If I update, it'll pop up in my routes. You see, now this is my route. And at last, we have the map. We weren't able to make like the most efficient route in this program, but well, yeah, we do have all the points. Just click on any of them, find their way, look who it is. So yeah, that's yeah. That's one, boop, boop, boop. That. That's two.
Okay, so summarize. We think it was a fun experience, and we had absolutely no time, and we had no major problems. Questions?
How did you choose the delivery group as your target group?
Well, we speak with someone from Meals on Wheels, and we were out of two, and we actually observed ourselves that was quite tricky to get out to the client, and we thought it would be nice to just get some way to find it easier.
Yeah, and just generally that problem with contacting the client, that was one of the main problems that he talked about when we spoke to him, because it really is janky having to call the office and then having them to call the client. So kind of just wanted to focus on volunteer.
That's around privacy concerns?
Yeah, it's around privacy. Because of privacy laws, they can't give out numbers to the volunteers. Yeah.
Very well done.
Okay.
Well, that wraps things up. I think you guys did a great job, and I'll give you all a 12. Is that right? Ryan, Sam, Cindy, thank you so much for taking time out. And I hope you got some good ideas. Sarah, would you like to say something briefly?
So I just want to say, overall, y'all are a very creative and hardworking group, and I've enjoyed meeting you all. So thank you for your hard work, and thank you guys so much for being here, Scott.
Well done. You guys are amazing, and I'm so glad we met that amazing person yesterday. That's quite a bit. And, you got to share that story with everybody else.
The debate, yeah.
Yeah,
Alicia,
I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the hard work. You know, we really seriously not a lot of time. Everything else did. Thank you so much for this.
All right, the entire team. Thank you so much. Sandwiches?
Yes.
All right. Afterwards, we'll have a quick ceremony, and you'll be on your way.